Happy New Year. Let's get after it. Happy New Year, everybody. It is Craig Bennett, aka Cash Keg, back with an NFL Prizepicks video. I found 3 plays for you here. We'll go about each and every one of them. We'll just dive down into them. There's not a lot of NBA today. We got 3 games. I think they all start at 8 o'clock tonight. But, crazy big NFL slate here. So, again, I got 3 plays for you. We'll dive into those. If you want to see more videos like this, hit that like button for me. Subscribe to the channel. It means a lot. And we'll just keep chugging along and keep providing you some value. If you want more plays, you want access to the True EV tool, which has been fantastic. We've actually added projections to that and another formula. We're going to call it Diddy V, kind of figure out a better play. More metrics for you guys to look at. Again, no increase in price for that. We just added it to our True EV models. If you want to check that out, again, you can dive in. Check everything out in the Patreon. Link is in the description below. Let's just get after it and talk about these plays. Let's go. All right, as you can tell, we have the Prizepicks desktop version up here. You can get their sweet mobile app as well. Again, I got 3 plays we're going to talk about. Some that kind of, come up. I've got a handful more plays already up in our Discord. So if you sign up for the picks or any of the other packages that include the picks, I have, I think, roughly 7 plays up there so far. I'm going to add more. There's a ton of interesting games today. So, and then I'm going to check out what the True EV tool is doing as well for NFL. So, yeah, if we want to check these out, the 3 picks we're going to talk about. First one I'm going to talk about is we're going to go to Chris Godwin here. Godwin, 6.5 receptions. I think we can go more than this. They need to win this. This is, I believe, whoever wins this game takes the division. And if we look what Chris Godwin's done, he's cleared this in 4 of his last 5 games. The targets are going to be there. Brady is chucking the ball at an unseen, crazy level. If we look at his last 5 games, Brady is throwing the ball 48, 44, 55, 54, and 43 times. So the opportunities are going to be massive for him. Just looking at his targets over these 5 games, 13, 9, 8, and 10. We're going to see double-digit targets here. He's going to be throwing the ball a ton. Like I said, he's caught balls there. And even back before that, right? I mean, he's just going to get over 10 targets a game here. And you're going to have to love this for a game where they must win. We saw St. Brown put up 7 receptions last week against Carolina. And I think we're going to see Chris Godwin do pretty well here. So I like the over 6.5 receptions for him. Next one we're going to do is more of just who's playing quarterback more than anything. And I'm going to go Garrett Wilson. 66.5 reception yards. One of the big thing with Garrett Wilson is who's going to be playing quarterback for him. A lot of that has to do with, we saw the whole fiasco with Zach Wilson. He's not going to be a Jet, moving forward in that organization by any stretch of the imagination. But again, we don't really care so much about that and what's happened there. Going up against Seattle, Mike White is going to play. And if we kind of look what Mike White has done, he looked really well this year in the starts that he did have. And in those 3 starts that he did play with Garrett Wilson, he had over 100 receptions yards in those games on average. So, anytime we're going to take that, I think is averaged over 10 targets as well with White out there. White just looked like a phenomenal quarterback in sense of, compared to Zach Wilson. So if Zach Wilson was the quarterback here, I really wouldn't touch him at all. But because we get, Zach Wilson, because we get Garrett Wilson out here, I think we're going to do, pretty well here. Again, Mike White looked phenomenal in those games with him, target him often. And I think we can continue to look at that. So as long as Zach Wilson is off the field and Mike White is there, I'm going to continue to target Garrett Wilson. Don't have too many weeks left of it. Might as well enjoy it here. So again, just looking at the stats when those guys play together, there's definitely some chemistry. So we're going to take that over on Garrett Wilson. And then the last one, I was going through a couple picks I liked, and I was debating which one I liked the most to pull up here. And the matchup is not great. But it's more, again, who's throwing him the ball, right? So the matchup's not great against the Saints here with Philly, but we don't have no Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is not going to play again this week. So, we got Minshew starting, man, and Gardner Minshew is just a fun guy to watch play. He is quite the character. And if we got to look at it here, I think what we're going to do is we're going to take Dallas Goedert over 42.5 reception yards. It's one of those plays that, you know, in the 2 starts that Gardner Minshew has made, he's went over 100 yards and 60 yards in both of those. So, you know, it doesn't take much with Goedert, and with him, you know, yeah, he's a good tight end that's more like a wide receiver. So, you know, if it's a close game, you know, he could get even more looks, but I do like this play with Dallas Goedert over 40.5 yards. The one I will mention here, I'll add a fourth just because I am a Bears fan. And of course we'll try to win games, you know, at the end of the year, so we get a horrible draft pick, but that's, you know, not here nor there. But we're going to go talk about Justin Fields because there's a couple different ones I like here. Fantasy score and rush yards. This is going to be one of my favorite games. If you're playing any daily fantasy sports or anything else, this is the game that I would kind of look to target a little bit on both sides of it because the defenses have just struggled, right? We saw last week the Lions just get absolutely torched on the ground by the Panthers. It was just like, it was horrible watching. Justin Fields struggled a little bit last week, you know, 11 yards against Buffalo. But, you know, he's getting close to that Lamar Jackson quarterback record of over 1,200 rush yards. I think it's 1,206. I'm not 100% positive if the spot check me on that, but I know it's over 1,200 yards. And he's roughly, you know, around 200 yards short of that. So, you know, the Bears are aware of this, and you know Justin Fields wants to play. It wouldn't surprise me if the Bears tried to get him that record with, you know, how bad the season's been, kind of just give him that. So with that being said, you know, being about 200 yards over the next few games, maybe we see another 100 spot here. Again, we saw how bad it was. Justin Fields smoked these guys earlier this year. Has 147 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns. So it's not like he hasn't done it already. So I just think it's a spot where if you kind of play consideration of what records are on the line and stuff like that, it's one that I do like. And again, I think you could play fantasy score or rush yards. You know, either one of these ones you want to go to. We'll throw rush yards up here, but I do like either one of them. So if I had to rank these real quick, I probably would take Chris Godwin number 1, Garrett Wilson number 2, Justin Fields number 3, and Dallas Goedert number 4. Just because there are other weapons there in Philly that he can definitely utilize. But it should be a good one. If you want to go back on the Detroit side too and bring it back with something, St. Brown over fantasy score is something you can look at, or maybe you want to look at golf over fantasy score as well. There should be points in that game. So one you can definitely look at. So again, if you want more picks and everything else got going on, you can check us out in the Patreon streets, and our Discord will be in there all morning, throwing out picks and talking things, and had a lot of winners yesterday. Had, I think 3 guys put up some really nice wins. The picks did really well. So again, let's get after it and start the new year off with a bang. And like always, I'll see you guys on the flip side. Deuces.